Hello, everybody. Welcome all from Saptarishis Astrology. Welcome to the webinar of how to improve your karma with Sun. And we are doing it with none other than Kṣaṇāti. So, Namaste, Kṣaṇāti. Om
Namaste,
Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah.
Welcome again. Welcome again to webinar of Saptarishis Astrology. And very excited to learn from you. And over to you.
Namaste, Madhurji. Thank you for your greeting. Thank you for your intelligence, your support, your kindness. I'm always deeply grateful and appreciative. And I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. I also want to give thanks to the rest of the Saptarishi astrology team, particularly Sunil John, for his constant support of his team member. Even though he may not be here with us today, I feel his energy and support in his spirit. And so I just want to acknowledge and give thanks to him and the rest of the Saptarishi astrology organization. Today we are doing a very interesting topic. This is a rescheduled from last Sunday. As I was mentioning, Saturn was on the cusp at 0 degrees between two signs, and this has caused a lot of problems in the world, including the rescheduling of the first attempt at this webinar. So now that Saturn is more firmly in Scorpio, we will begin to do this Sun webinar together. Now, usually I pick the webinars based on certain alignment, whether it's certain transit, certain dasha in my life, certain things like this. And I picked the Sun webinar because we are all experiencing the Sun in our lives at this time of the season. During the summer, in the time of the day, we experience the heat of the Sun. We experience the sight of the Sun. We experience the power of the Sun. So these are the main intentions why I wanted to focus on the Sun, on the Sun webinar today. And I am going to be doing all Navagraha, but I feel this is a very important time for the Sun. And so I'm very excited to discuss this with all of you, to talk about the karma of the Sun, how it is influenced by its different alignment and conjunction. And also we talk of examples that different members of the community have sent in that they would like some support in their karmic evolution. And we will look at those. And then if we have time at the end, we will take some live questioning as well. This webinar is formatted a little different. In the past, I have a lot of text of my notes on on what I was going to be saying in the webinar. Now I just have the topic and I have the notes in my head and some of them on a little piece of paper. So I will be more from the improvisational perspective. And so this is exciting, but I have some butterfly as well.
Yeah, it is exciting for all of us. And before we get started, I will request everybody to be on mute so that we can listen to Kṣaṇāti very clearly. And if possible, you can shut down your cameras for now. Whenever you have a question, you can just come in and ask the question.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah. So, over to you, Kṣaṇāti.
Okay, well, wonderful. Now I'm going to change the screen and share the presentation with everybody. Excuse me. Okay, namaste, Madhurji. How does everything look?
It's brilliant.
Okay, wonderful. So
I feel the Sun energy from the light.
This is the picture of the Sun, and we will talk a lot of philosophy of the Sun. But here in this picture of the Sun, you can see that the Sun energy, how strong, how powerful, how great it is. But you can also see that the energy of the Sun is concealed within inside of it. So even though we are getting a reflection of the Sun and the energy that is concentrated within it, you can also see that there is even more power and energy towards the center of that star. This is a very interesting picture that kind of explains the power of the Sun And even though how great we see it is even only a spectrum of its ultimate greatness. So today we'll be focusing on how to improve. Is my audio good, Madhurji?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Crystal clear.
Today we'll be focusing on how to improve our planetary karma with the sun, or Surya in Sanskrit. Some of the ancient descriptions that we'll be focusing on is that Surya is described as the light of wisdom. It is also called the dispeller of ignorance. And so we'll dive into these topics and the sun's effect on these from a spiritual perspective. And more as far as how can we improve our karma with the sun is how to align to our full potential as an individual, how to align to our ultimate direction of our soul, how for our soul to be content, how for our soul to be satisfied. These are the things that manifest when we improve our karma with the sun. Just some of what we'll be touching on.
Brilliant.
I separate this into 6 different parts. First, we will talk about the sun and its karma. Then we will talk about how it is currently in Gemini. When I first did this presentation, it was in Taurus, and now it's in Gemini. So I had to change a little bit there. So we will discuss sun in Gemini, and then I will discuss the sun exaltation, debilitation, natural sign, enemy sign, favorite sign, and its relationship with the other planets, so we can understand whether we have auspicious sun karma or inauspicious sun karma. Although the sun is a very divine planet, it can be considered malefic sometimes, depending on its dignity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Perfect.
Then the most important part, what to do to improve our to improve our Surya karma. So how will we do both ancient method from 5 to 7,000 year old ancient Vedic method to certain lifestyle methods that we can do that are important for this current time that we are living in, and then also Ayurveda. How can we use Ayurveda to improve our karma with the sun? And then we will look at the community example and discuss anything else we would like to discuss.
Wonderful.
Now, before we get started, it is always most important to me that we open up with honoring the planet. So I would like to do a traditional Surya sun mantra. This is one of my favorite mantra. My sun is in 10th house in Scorpio, so I think it's a prominent sun, but also my sun astrocartography is where I just moved to, Philadelphia. So
Wow.
yeah, so a lot of energy and a strong relationship. I've always had a affinity for the sun. And also I have Leo in the 7th house, so I'm very attracted to those that have much sun energy. So this chant we will be doing, if you recognize the chant wherever you are over the world, I encourage you to join me. The words are on the screen here. But you can also just sit back and relax and enjoy a meditation if that is what is comfortable for you. I'm probably going to do the sutra 3 to 5 times and then do a tantric seed sound, which is not listed. What's listed here at the bottom, Om Hrim Hrim Suryaya Namaha, that's the seed sound or the bija sound. But when I like performing the mantra, I like using the tantric sound. Because I believe that everyone can feel this. So we will do Om Hram Hrim Hram Saha Suryaya Namaha, and that is the only thing that will be different from the text that is listed here. But of course, just chant however you wish to chant. But this is a very powerful way to honor the sun. So I'll open with 3 Om and then get into some sun chanting with all of you.
Brilliant.
Hare Om. Oh. Jabaka Suma Shankasham Kashapaya Mahadutim Tamorim Sarvapapanganam Pranatosmi Davakaram. Om Jabaka Suma Sankasam Kashapaya Mahadutim Tamorim Sarvapapanganam Pranatosmi Davakaram. Om Jabaka Suma Sankasham Kashapaya Mahadutim Tamarim Sarvapapanganam Pranatasmi Davakaram. Om Jabaka Suma Sankasham Kashapaya Mahadutim Tamarim Sarvapapanganam Pranatasmi Davakaram. Om Hram Hrim Hram Saha Suryaya Namaha. 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Sri Surya Namaha. Namaste. How are you doing, Madhurji? Oh, I can't hear you.
It was brilliant, the chanting. Totally feeling the energy.
Wonderful. So the first thing I want to talk about is the sun's karma, and we will talk about this in some detail. But here I have written Atma signification. Atma meaning soul, soul signification, or soul significator. What does it mean that the sun is so deeply connected to the soul? And what is the sun's connection to the soul? There is a lot of different aspects of the connection between the sun and the soul. The Atma signification that I'm talking about here, and we will discuss this in further detail. But let's start with it from a simple perspective. Let's say you have a very strong sun in your chart. Let's say you have a very strong sun in your chart. You are an exalted sun lagna. Well, then I say that you have a lot of soul, or you have a big soul, or you have a great soul, or you have a powerful soul. Not that saying that those that have a debilitated sun have a weak soul or anything like this, but it shows that their soul has gone through many challenges. It shows that their soul has gone through many oppressions. It shows that authority has made them felt inferior in past lifetimes. And all of these planets are connected to our past lifetimes, but the sun in particular is connected to our past lifetimes and how great we have been able to grow as an incarnation in each lifetime. In other words, what is our... I'm hearing some background noise.
Okay, yeah, please go on.
Hello? Okay, good. So basically, the sun is connected to power and strength from a soul's perspective. And it doesn't mean that if your sun is debilitated or weakened, that your soul, you have less of a soul or you have less of a powerful soul. But it means that your soul has not been allowed to reach its full power. It means that your soul has not been allowed to reach its full strength. Medora, I lost the video of you in my corner for some reason. I'm not sure how to get back to...
Okay, now you see me?
No, I don't see you yet. No. Maybe I can do something.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Okay.
I see some Indian man from India, I think.
Uh, okay, I request everybody to just shut down their cameras so that
Okay, I can see you now. We're back. So basically, as I was saying about the soul signification, if your sun is exalted, it shows a very strong soul that has achieved some of its power or potential in terms of its possibilities and its in past lifetime. Now, if the sun is debilitated, I don't want to say that this means that you do not have a powerful soul. But from a reincarnation perspective, it is possible that your soul was oppressed in the past lifetime. So you have a lot of karmic work to do to improve the strength of your soul, if that makes sense.
yes, completely.
Like a lot of time people with Saturn in Libra, I mean Sun in Libra, which is debilitated, they have past life where they were living dictatorship, where
Yes,
where they live in persecution and thing like this.
yes, that's a good point. Yeah,
But this Atma signification shows that the sun is there to help us reach our soul's potential. And one of the ways that I like to explain this is, let's say you are wearing a shirt that shows some of your back if you're a woman. And if you are a man, you do not have a shirt on. And it is a very hot summer day. Then all you notice that the sun is burning your back, that you're getting sunburn on your back and you feel the sunburn. This is like the power of the sun. This is like the karma of the sun. This is like the energy of the sun. That fire, that light, which is truth, which is wisdom, which is connected to God, is pushing you, your soul, to align to its power, to align to its full potential, to align to its full direction. But that doesn't mean that that's not hot. It's very hot. Sometimes it even burns. And so
yes,
that is why the sun could be considered a malefic planet, because it burns. And from an Ayurvedic perspective, it can be aggravating to the Pitta dosha. So, so understanding that the sattvic intention of the sun is to push our soul to its full potential, into our strongest power. This is a very beautiful and sattvic intention. It just can be malefic or challenging sometimes because the sun and its karma is very hot.
yes. For enlightenment, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, depending on where the sun is. If the sun is in the 9th house, sun is in the 12th house, sun is in the 8th house, then yes. But sometimes, for example, let your soul's power relates to career. Sometimes your soul power relates to business. So a lot of people that have very strong sun in the 10th house, the sun is pushing them into positions of power. Sometimes
yes,
if the sun is in the 5th house as well, like our current president, Donald Trump, he has sun in Lagna, and and he has Rahu in Leo. And so there's this energy where, okay, it can help promote your soul to its full spiritual, but sometimes it will promote you in terms of your career, in terms of your finances, in terms of other areas of life as well.
yes. Wherever it sits.
Mm-hmm. But it definitely has the potential to promote you to moksha, depending on its position as well.
Yes, wonderful.
The next thing, and again, we're just going to talk about major topics, but the second topic here is the soul's direction. The sun is said to be the Atma direction, the direction that the soul wants to travel. And I have very many different philosophy that I think are interesting about this. The first one that I want to share is maybe little controversial, and I don't mean to be controversial in the sharing of this, but my guru, Amritananda Mayima Amaji, she says that we're in the time of the Kali Yuga. And this time of the Kali Yuga is a time where our consciousness, it's very hard for us as a complete humanity to understand the greatness of God. This is because of the time that we are living in. And in the ancient text, it says, when you are analyzing a chart, you give equal, you look at the lagna, you look at the sun sign, you look at the moon sign, you look at the divisional chart. And I totally honor that. But if you also read in other ancient astrological texts, that it says in the time of the Kali Yuga that the lagna takes the vast amount of prominence in the chart, and that the sun sign and the moon sign, that they lose their prominence. In other words, not that your sun sign in your natal chart is not significant, not that your sun sign in your divisional chart is not significant, but because we are in the time of the Kali Yuga, from this Vedic astrologer's perspective, the sun sign and the moon sign are less important because of the time that we are living in, because of the time of the Kali Yuga. And what that means in terms of the sun's karma, it means that our soul's direction is harder to achieve. It means that our soul's potential is harder to achieve, especially when it's concerned with these more spiritual aspects that have been mentioned. That because we're living in the time of the Kali Yuga, there is this influence to our soul's direction, but because of the dark time that we're living in, sometimes that direction, it's not the most spiritual place. So in any way, that's a little bit of a tangent, but basically the sun is there to help promote you to your soul's full direction as it incarnates in this lifetime. And you can also say for future lifetimes, if you aren't able to manifest it in this lifetime. So basically, the sun will work through your whole lifetime to help manifest your soul into its full potential. Now, if you align to that full potential, then your karma in the next lifetime will be very good with the sun, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you do not align to your soul's direction, if you do not align to your soul's potential, you will come back in the next lifetime with difficult karma with the sun, and you will have to spend a lot more of your soul's energy working on aligning to your soul's direction, on aligning to your soul's power. So basically, I'm saying that this is a philosophical, spiritual perspective. We all have to reach our potential as a soul. We all have to reach our potential in terms of where our soul wants to be and the type of power that we want to manifest as an incarnation in this lifetime. That is part of the human experience. And the sun is there to help tell us that. And we'll keep pushing the sun on our back, giving you sunburn, giving you heat, giving you sweat, giving you nausea, giving you whatever has to do with too much sun to help push you to your soul direction. So the intention is very positive, but sometimes how it affects us can be challenging.
Yes, definitely. It is like a father. It has to burn to do something.
Yeah, it is like the father, and in many different tradition and religion, it represents the father.
Yes. Brilliant.
So the next topic I want to discuss about the sun and its karma is the light of wisdom and truth. Now, when we hear the word wisdom as an astrologer or someone studied Jyotish, the first planet that we think of is Jupiter. We think wisdom, we think guru. This is a different type of wisdom. And it's connected to the second part. So these two topics are inseparable. Light of wisdom and truth, and the dispeller of ignorance. But basically, there are many different types of wisdom. And the type of wisdom that the sun is trying to teach us is a different type of wisdom than the wisdom that Jupiter wants to teach us. The type of wisdom that Jupiter wants to teach us has to do with ethic, has to do with moral. It has to do with spiritual and religious belief. The wisdom that the sun wants to teach us is about what is true in the world, what is true about who you are, what is true about life, what is true about the soul. So basically, that for the sun purposes, there's no separation between wisdom and truth. Truth is wisdom, and wisdom is truth. It's not necessarily morals and ethics, because that comes from an opinion. Not that Jupiter's wisdom is like an opinion. There is a difference between right and wrong. But the wisdom that comes from the sun, it is a representation of everything that is true. Just like it represents the Father, just like it represents God in many different religion, that the sun, it embody and represent truth, which is an important aspect of wisdom, because wisdom is one of the ultimate truth.
Wow, wonderful point.
So those who have strong sun in their chart, they have to stand by the truth. Not only do they have to stand by the truth, but they have to embody the truth. They have to represent the truth. And if it has to do with their career and different aspects of their chart, then they have to bring the truth into that area. So for me, I have sun in 10th house. So for my career, I have to bring the truth into it. I have to bring my full potential into it. I have to bring my full power into it. But if someone have the sun in the 7th house, then they are bringing truth into the marriage. They are bringing truth into the relationship. And actually, this can be challenging, because not everyone in a relationship wants to hear the truth all the time. So anyway, this is just another aspect of explaining that the sun ultimate karma is to help us see, realize, and embody the truth, both inside of ourselves, for our identity, for our ego, for who we are, our character and identity, but also in the world as a whole. Now, it's described as the dispeller of ignorance, and another way that this interpreted is the one that is the ritter of sin, the one that gets rid of sin. Sin is a Western concept, but it also has its own version in Eastern. Ignorance and sin. I'm saying that ignorance and sin can be used interchangeably here, but basically, because of the light of the sun, because of the power of the sun, because of the strength of the sun, because of the truth of the sun, because of the light of the sun, no ignorance, no falseness, no untruth can stand in that light. It is completely incinerated. It is completely burned up. So the sun's karma, which is very sattvic, is wherever there is false, wherever there is ignorance, wherever there is not truth, it is to remove that. It is to dispel that. It is to destroy that like fire, to incinerate that, to burn that ignorance, to burn that falseness, to burn that non-truth. So basically, even though in historical time, the Mars is the general of the army, and that the sun is the king. But a lot of time in ancient time, the sun become a king by becoming a great warrior. That actually the sun, that the person become a king from a general because they were a great warrior. This has happened many times throughout history. So because of this, you have to know that also there is almost like a warrior. Even though there is a royal, there can be past lifetime where you were a fight against falseness, fight against ignorance. It's not as much of a war or a battle like it is with Mars, but there is still this battle against ignorance. there still is a war against falseness.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Purification.
What's that, dear?
Purification.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes that can feel too hot, and sometimes we can use that as gas in our engine,
Yeah.
gas in our tank. So now I want to talk a little bit about the transit lanes in Gemini. The sun is currently in Gemini, and it entered Gemini on June 15. And it will leave Gemini on July 17th. So we're currently, there's still some time left of this Gemini transit, so it's worth mentioning the relationship of the sun and Gemini. Now, to understand the sun in Gemini, which is kind of my next point, is to kind of understand the sun and its relationships to the planets in general. Yes, it's important for us to find out how is the sun in Gemini? How is the sun? But for everyone who is trying to learn their planetary karma, it is also most helpful to understand the ruler of that sign and how the planet Surya has a relationship with that planet. So before we get into the relationship with each sign, which I will touch on, whether it's auspicious, inauspicious, mixed effect, etc., first we talk about who Surya's relationship is best with. Now, Surya, some say that Surya has no enemy because a true righteous king, why would they have an enemy? So some say that the sun has no enemy. So when I say enemy of sun, I just say this is who the sun would prefer not to spend its time with. Instead of it being like this great enemy because the sun is so righteous, like a king knows that to keep his friends close and his enemies closer. So even the enemies of the sun, the sun can treat them like friend because the sun is no one enemy. But when I say enemy of the sun, this is planet that has more trouble in terms of karma with the sun.
Yes.
But I consider the main friend, the best friends of the sun, the moon, Mars, and Jupiter. Just in general, that the sun gets along very well with these planets. I consider the sun to be kind of neutral with Mercury, but if it's not combust or in a good position, friendly. But it can be neutral because it often is combust. But that there's a overall neutral relationship, and then all the other planets such as Venus, Saturn, Ketu, and Rahu, I believe have enemy relationship with the sun. What does this mean that Venus, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu have enemy? It means that the sun is the king, so the sun's not going to necessarily make them out to be their enemy. But Saturn does not get along well with the sun. Venus does not get along well with the sun. Rahu does not get along well with the sun. Ketu does not get along well with the sun. So I guess my main point is I'm saying that the other planets are having more trouble with the sun than the sun is having with them.
Yes. Right.
Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the sun and its different positions and how that will affect us. Now, from a Parashara perspective, when the sun goes into an exaltation, you have 100% of an auspicious or beneficial effect and a 0% of a negative effect. But it never works out like that. Excuse me. It never works out like that, where it's 100% and a 0%. But it's important to know that when the sun is exalted in someone's chart, that you earn that from your past lifetime. You know, it's not like people are born with sun exalted and they just are new soul. Like, you have to have gone through very many past lifetime karma to earn exaltation of sun. So it's very powerful combination, and it usually shows that you have royalty from past lifetime. It could show royal caste from past lifetime, royalty in your or in your genetic, in your ancestry. These are some of the effects that this exaltation can cause from a past lifetime perspective. Is you are born with a royal mentality. Now, that's a great thing to be born with the royal mentality, as long as you don't have an ego. But the sun also is connected to the ego. And so sometimes when because it is given so much power, so much strength, and so much responsibility. And when we have so much power and strength and responsibility in our lives, sometimes the ego wants to take credit for it. So when sun is exalted, even though this is very positive for wherever the sun is and its position and the house it's affecting, that you always will have to worry about the ego. You'll always have to worry about the ego of the individual, because they are born to be successful. They are born to be great. They are born to be powerful. And with great power comes great responsibility. And with great responsibility and great power also comes great ego.
Yeah.
So Surya can be exalted and the person can have giant ego. So it can show a lot of favor in their karma depending on which house it's in. But again, they will have to struggle with the ego. For example, if sun is exalted in 10th house, I will see the person will become famous. And as this person becomes famous, they will begin to say, oh, all their fans love them and they worship them. And then this goes to their ego, and they begin to think, I am greater. I have these fans and all of these things, just like a guru. It can happen with a guru if it's in the 9th house, like a guru with an ego who's not a real guru. So basically, it's just as that there is a real benefit for sun being exalted in terms of your ambitions manifesting, you succeeding in competition, and finding positions of power, success, and leadership within the world. On the harsh side, it makes you aggressive and impatient because it's a double fire combination. But just in general, even though this will help really the other aspects we talked about, pushing your soul to its full potential, allowing you to achieve your full power in whichever area that the sun is affecting, that there will still be, you will have to worry about the fighting with the ego as well.
Yes. Right.
Yes. And usually, I very rarely see someone with exalted sun who has very small ego.
Yeah. So is it the karma of exalted sun person to control his ego?
Exactly. Because if you were a queen in past life, your whole lifetime you had to control your ego. No one likes a king or queen who has ego. A true righteous king or queen is a king or queen for the people, is a king or queen of the people, that is not about themselves but is about the community. So yes, it is definitely the karma of the sun individual to keep their ego in check, no matter how much power or success they will achieve.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Now, on the other side of things is the debilitation of Surya, which falls in Libra. And like I mentioned, that Venus and Sun are not friends. But I think Sun is fine with Venus. It's Venus that is so frustrated with the Sun. And the debilitation in Libra, so we talked about the past life and the reincarnation. So from a past lifetime perspective, if Surya is exalted, maybe you were prince, king, queen, some type of royalty or high position in government in past life. If Surya is debilitated, maybe you were slave. Maybe you were peasant in a dictatorship that did not allow you to achieve any level of success. Maybe you had certain beliefs and certain things that make you happy that you were not allowed to have in your life because they were illegal, or there was authority that would keep you away from these things. So I see Surya debilitated in chart. I go into a place of heavy compassion. I go into a place of heavy sympathy. I go into a place of heavy empathy. This person has gone through trauma in their past lifetime, and it needs to be healed. It needs to be healed. And so how can we encourage when they have, because if you were a victim from very many past lifetime, and why would you, then you have, your soul has some skara as victim. So even though you might not be victim in this lifetime, your soul still carries some skara from past lifetime of victim mentality. So you have to work on that. That is, if you have sun debilitated, you have to work on that.
Yes, that's a beautiful point.
Yeah. On the positive side, I've seen some very interesting combinations of the sun in Libra. For example, it can be a very positive artistic combination. These can be very artistic and creative individuals. They can be somewhat gracious. Libra is always seeking balance, and sun represents the truth. So they're trying to combine truth and balance, which is a challenge, but it can be done.
Yes.
But basically, this is a very artful and creative disposition. But the issue is, a lot of times that if you choose artist as career and you have debilitated sun, then you will not become successful for your art until after you die.
Oh.
So the art should not be the primary source of income, because it will not be truly recognized until after. And a lot of great artists have this.
Yes, that's a very good point you have made, that a person gets his some award or something after death.
Yeah.
Yeah, recognition after death.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And that also with Surya and Libra, sometimes it showed that you will pass away before your partner. And so also your partner might get some of the reward.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now we'll talk about sun in its own sign, Leo. Depending on the degree of sun in Leo, it is in Mula Trikona, which is like 80% exaltation. So sun in Leo is very strong. Leo is ruled by the sun. It's very strong in that position. This is considered a favorable combination, but it's very powerful. And so depending on its position, like if it's in a Upashaya house or a Drakana house, it can cause malefic effects. In the 3rd, 6th, 8th, or 12th house, you don't necessarily want to see the sun in Leo. But basically, this is a very, 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 very strong combination. As we mentioned, the Leo has significations with the father, and so does the sun have significations with the father. So there's double father energies. So there's usually some father energy where the sun is in Leo. And but it shows someone who is meant to be the boss. Shows someone that is meant to be in charge. Shows someone who is meant to be a leader, who is meant to be influential. And this person will naturally carry a lot of charisma. Similarly to the issues that we talked about of the exalted sun, similar issues when the sun is in Leo, in that you can have big ego, you can have vanity, you could have You could be pretentious, which means you can be demeaning to other people. You could be superior in your thinking. So again, Surya in Leo shows you're working on your karma in terms of achieving that full potential, but you will have to really deal with vanity, ego, superiority complex, and things like this as well. But it does naturally push you into a position of leadership in whichever this conjunction falls in.
Yes.
So if you, even if it's in the 12th house, that you will be some type of spiritual leader. Even if it's in the 9th house, you could be guru, or have a very strong relationship with guru. If it's in 7th house, then I think, okay, this is something you have to be careful with. Okay, because that means that your wife or husband is the leader. They joke, who wear the pants in a relationship? Who's wearing the pant? Well, whoever has Sun in Leo is wearing the pant. And if they have Sun in Leo in 7th house, it probably shows that their partner is the one who has the control or leadership position in the relationship. And actually, the Sun can show that in general.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we'll talk a little bit about the Sun's relationship with Virgo. We talked about Sun in Gemini already, and we talked about the Sun's relationship with Mercury. And some astrologers consider the Sun to have a neutral relationship with Mercury, and other astrologers consider it to be favorable as long as it's not combust. Again, we'll call it neutral, but there are signs of favorability, particularly when it's not combust. Now, when the Sun is in Virgo, it's not the most favorable position because, again, of the neutral relationship with Mercury. It's not like it's receiving an exaltation or debilitation. I would call it almost neutral. So this energy is something where you get a mixed effect of difficult but also positive aspects. Now, whenever the Sun and Mercury, whether it's the Sun in Gemini or the Sun in Virgo combine, there is a relationship between the soul and the intellect. Now, according to Darshan, the different philosophies of Vedic philosophy, that the mind travels with the soul. But basically, that the soul, from a consciousness perspective, can be experienced separately from the mind. So even though they travel together past this lifetime, that while we're human beings, we can experience the intellectual aspect of our consciousness and the soul as separate. We can experience something through the soul, and we can understand it rationally, logically, and they might be different. But when the Sun is with Mercury, when the Sun is in Gemini, when the Sun is in Virgo, the intellectual and the soul, they're more interconnected. They're more inseparable. They're more inseparated. So the mind thinks something and the soul feels something. The soul feels something and the mind thinks something. This combination makes the soul and the mind less separation. This combination would usually, whenever Sun and Mercury are together, it does help the intelligence, especially when it's not combust. And even if it is combust, it helps the intelligence. It just means that you'll burn out. Sometimes I'll be saying something and I'll just have to take a break to remember what I said because of the combustion. So anyway, this combination of Sun and Mercury, Sun in Virgo, Sun in Gemini, but Sun in Virgo is particularly intelligent. It's particularly analytical. It's particularly likes numbers and accounting and positions of administration.
Yes.
And because the Sun is truth and, in a sense, perfection, and Virgo also naturally has that energy, they can be very perfectionist on the difficult side, hypercritical, too
Okay.
critical, which means they set too high expectations. The expectations they set might be too high, and because of that, they are often disappointed.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen people.
What's that, Madhurji?
Yeah, I've seen people in Sun in Virgo.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it definitely has its challenges, but very smart.
yes.
Um, so as we look at Sun in Taurus, oh, I lost you for a second there, Medora. Unless you're Somnath Bhattacharya, but I don't think you are. I lost your video for a sec.
Okay. Now can you see me?
No, but sometimes if I fix the screen, it does it. Yes, I can see you. Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. I just feel like seeing you in the corner makes me feel strong support. So next, I want to talk about Surya and Taurus. Now, we talked about the sun's relationship with Venus and how it is not particularly favorable, and that is emphasized by showing you that the sun is debilitated in Libra, which is ruled by Venus. So let's just say that the sun is not debilitated in Taurus, but it's an enemy position. Now, there are positives. Again, this shows Taurus is one of the primary signs which represents wealth and material accumulation. And so when the sun is in Taurus, it could show someone who has a lot of power and strength towards accumulation of possessions and materials. So this is a very auspicious combination for making money, for being successful, for accumulation, being able to get expensive gems, expensive home, expensive car, expensive house. So all this is the best part of this combination is material.
Yeah.
On the more troublesome side, when the sun, which is the soul, is in Taurus, I believe this also has past lifetime signification. Just like how it's debilitated in Libra, it also very challenged in Taurus. So it shows that there's a lot of karma to be worked on. And so what I mean by sun in Taurus is that in past lifetimes, you were either possessive or attached to material world. And maybe that is debilitated sun in some way too, but I see this more as sun in Taurus, that in past lifetime there was some level of possession or attachment to the material in the world. So in terms of remedy, to not be possessive of people or things and to not be attached to people or things is a great remedy for those with sun in Taurus. But the issue is they're always making money and accumulating. So they're making money, but they cannot be attached or possessive of it. That can be a strong karma or challenge.
Yeah.
And if you see this combination in the second house, that would be perfect example.
Mm.
Now, Surya and Scorpio, my favorite. Just joking because it's me. But Surya and Scorpio. So Sun and Mars are.
Can I say one thing?
Hello, hold on. I think I hear someone's audio.
Yes, can I say something on Sun in Libra about that?
Sure.
No, I think that Sun in Libra cause less confident, but I see people when they are in relationship, they are become more confident when Sun in Libra.
Yes, of course. The reason that they become overconfidence from Sun in Libra is because you know how I talk about the oppression that the soul take through past lifetime. So in this lifetime, they overcompensate. because they do not have healthy ego, because they do not have healthy sense of character or identity, that they promote a very large false ego. This is also can happen.
False, I see people that they have become less confident, but when they become with someone with maybe their relationship or their partnership business or like that, they become more confident. Sometimes I see my friend, one of my friends have that combination, Sun in Libra. I am in partnership business. He's become more confident when I am with him. So that's why I'm
Yeah,
saying
well,
that
that's because
Libra Sun have some.
also, yeah, Libra relationship to partner, and also it shows that if this person with Sun in Libra is becoming more confident, that is going to be that shows that they're working on improving their karma with the Sun. So this is going to be very positive. The only thing that they have to worry about is that their confidence is in balance with ego. That's all. But for Libra, but for people with Sun in
Okay,
Libra,
thank you.
but with people with Sun in Libra, it's important for them to have healthy ego, because otherwise they will be challenged in success.
No, if we the deep to
Hello?
Hello.
Lost you for a second.
in the sun in Libra.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, sorry, I can
So,
hear you. What was the question?
Question is that Libra have this many nakshatra on that, like Swati and different things. And if the sun is placing different nakshatra on Libra, how it will affect?
Oh, so you're asking the different nakshatras, which are more favorable in Libra?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I find Chitra fairly favorable. You know Chitra nakshatra?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because it's
Why you give more importance Chitra than Swati?
because Chitra is very close relationship with Mars.
When Mars and Sun are friends, that's why.
Yes. And
Okay, thank you.
Swati is Rahu, which is
Is it
enemy.
Rahu?
And
But
Swati is Rahu, which is enemy.
okay.
Now Jupiter Vishaka is also good. Not that Swati is inauspicious, but there are challenges with Surya and Swati.
No, another question is that you said that the Sun and Rahu nakshatra are in enemy nakshatra, but all the Rahu nakshatra, suppose Ardra or even Swati, have same effect or different effect as their sign rulers are different, because Libra is ruled by Venus and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Then the quality will of the Ardra or Swati will different.
So what's the question exactly?
The question is that the Sun in Ardra
Yes. The Sun in Ardra.
and Sun in Ardra and Sun in Swati, both Ardra and Swati both are ruled by Rahu.
Yes.
And then the quality of the Sun will change, as because the rulership of the sign is Mercury and Venus.
Yes, exactly. Yes. It's not a question, but yes, that is true. Yes. If that's a question, yes, you're correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Madhurji?
yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. There is a questioning part of the webinar. So if you really have a strong question like that, please feel free to share it. But you can also there's going to be a time where I will invite question openly. But that was fine. That was totally enjoyable and fun to look at that. So now when I discuss Sun relationship with Mars, Sun is exalted in Aries, and Sun, just like how I consider Sun very favorable in Scorpio. Some astrologers say it's too fiery, but I think it is a wonderful combination. Now, with the Sun in Scorpio, Mars is the general of the king's army, and the Sun is the king. So when we're talking about the relationship between the king and the general. So in a sense, we are talking about best friend. We're talking about two best friends. Now, this has some positive indications, and it also has some challenging indications. But overall, when the Sun and Mars are together, even though it is very Pitta, it is auspicious. With this combination has a lot of purpose, is very intense, is very passionate, is very concerned with helping things to improve, helping others to improve. They are mystically inclined to have Sun in Scorpio, shows strong mystical inclination, and it also shows a real soul's direction or soul's passion for mystical, transcendental, or occult knowledge or information. For me, like Jyotish, but I also study Vedanta and Ayurveda and different religion, and so just in general, I've always been very inclined to the mystical, transcendental, spiritual, and I think that's because, again, the Sun represents truth. And in every mystical tradition, in every transcendental tradition, there's all of this truth which we have forgotten. There is truth which in the Kali Yuga we especially have forgotten. So I feel with my Sun in Scorpio, it is my dharma to help rediscover this forgotten truth and to share it. And I think this is a combination of Sun and Scorpio. Now, on the challenging side of this conjunction, it does make people very forceful. Sometimes with the way I talk, people are like, why are you talking angry? And I said, I'm not angry. Why do I sound angry? So people think I talk angry, and I am not feeling angry at all. So and I also have Mercury in Scorpio. So it's just this energy where I can't help but feel forceful or sharp or intense about my expression. It's my natural way. Dr. Lad said this is the guna of Pitta, which is penetrating or sharp. So Sun in Scorpio has strong penetrating guna. It can be, because of this powerful combination, it can be a little dominating if it's not made the most auspicious, that the person can, like we were talking earlier, they might be the one that like to wear the pants. They might like to be, the one in control and things like that. And naturally, Scorpio is very passionate. Scorpio is very sensual. So there's this very passionate, sensual side of Sun in Scorpio that makes them very amazing lovers, but also they can be jealous. Because they are so passionate and so much fire, they're also commonly jealous. So they're best for monogamous relationship. Because for me, for Sun in Scorpio, because of you can't help, you naturally jealous. That means your Sun is seeking monogamous relationship. Yeah. Well, everyone in America they're trying every different thing. So, as far as monogamous, polyamorous, so being old-fashioned in that way, and being connected to the monogamous vibration. And when and otherwise brahmacharya. So the second aspect that next that I want to talk about is the sun's relationship with Capricorn and Aquarius. And if you think that the sun and the Venus are enemy, then you don't even know that the sun and the Saturn, they are like the oldest enemy. They are like the sworn enemy. But it's not the enemy how you would normally consider or think of enemy, because Shani Deva is the son of the sun. And so because of this, it's not like an enemy, like the sun, Surya loves Shani. But Shani, how often do we have problem with our father, especially in our childhood? It is like this just example. Well, there are two things, but basically there is a fight because the sun is so bright and light and full of power and full of strength and full of light that whatever else it is near, it completely outshines it. So whatever the sun is near, and whenever the sun is near, it completely outshine it. And Saturn is a very dark, shadowy planet. The brightest color on Saturn is dark green. So basically, the light of the sun is is so bright that it often covers over, which is also light, but what is the shadow of Shani? The light shadow.
Yeah.
And that's why when we pray to Shani, we ask Shani's shadow to be brighter than the sunlight. If you go into the prayer, that is one of the things. Dear Shani, may your shadow be so strong that it can cover the light of the sun.
Yes.
Because so long it is the sun which cover over Shani. And it is almost like symbolic, like the son always trying to be as successful as the father, but the father always being overshining the sun.
Yes.
So it's a very challenging combination. In Capricorn, on the positive side, again, the sun is promoting these qualities of the soul, so it should make an individual very loyal and dependable. And it should make it especially if it's in an Artha house, it should make them a very hard worker. They should be very hardworking in terms of their career and making money. And they should also Capricorn has a conservative energy. So the sun in Capricorn could give them success in conservative political endeavors. But anyway, these are usually very structured individuals who have sun in Capricorn. If you are not structured and organized and dependable, and your sun is in Capricorn, those are the things that you should be working on.
Yes.
But again, it's again the sun outshining Saturn here, and how that can be a challenge to be a hard worker when there is a coworker that is constantly outshining you. It's hard to work hard if there is someone else there that is working less hard but getting more recognition. This is just an example of Saturn and Sun. So on the difficult side of Sun and Capricorn, these people are like slave to work, like work alcoholic, workaholic, not alcoholic, workaholic, and they sometimes, I think it's connected to past lifetimes, they can be kind of cold, like zombie, like, because basically too much strain, too much work, too much pressure, too much challenge, and they just have no juice left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like so it's like they try so hard and they can get and sometimes face and get so little and get so and not get far. They can try so hard and get so little far that they lose their heart and that they can become bitter by this.
Yeah.
It's a challenging karma. And yeah, that's what I want to say. Now, when the sun is in Aquarius, this is an interesting combination. I think it's a little more auspicious than sun in Capricorn, but it's also very challenged. There's the shunny connection, so there's always going to be delays, challenges, and obstacles with the sun, no matter whether it's in Capricorn or Aquarius, because of shunny. But the combination of the sun and an Aquarius, because the sun is the soul, Aquarius is very consciousness oriented. So when you take the soul's direction and you mix it with the consciousness orientation, you make a very philosophical person. The people with sun in Aquarius have very philosophical gift. Also, Aquarius is naturally connected to the 11th house, which is the house of friend. So they make great friends and are very friendly.
Yes.
And Aquarius is very innovative, and the sun is pushing to your soul's direction or your soul's potential. So it could show a great ability to innovate or to create or to be an inventor, to invent or innovate on something.
Yes.
On the more challenging side, these people are usually considered weird by the public.
Yes.
Anyone with strong Aquarius is usually considered weird.
Yeah.
And as an Aquarius Lagna, I can obviously relate. And because of this Aquarius vibration and the sun, maybe they feel like they can't find their place. Like it's hard to find where they belong. Like it's hard to find the community. Like it's hard to find the right place to fit in.
Yeah.
And Aquarius and sun, they're usually, the sun is power, and Aquarius and Saturn are connected to politics. And so with sun in Aquarius, they are usually interested in politics and can, on the positive side, for the right politician, help bring them a lot of support, or even possibly be a good politician, but on the negative side are very, very disturbed by political problem.
Yeah. Right.
With the Saturn and the sun.
Yeah.
As we look into Saturn's relationship with Jupiter, I like to consider it a friend relationship. Some astrologers consider it more neutral, but I like it. And when Sagittarius is, when Sun is with Jupiter, you're combining these two aspects of wisdom. The aspect of wisdom which represent truth, which come from Suryaji, and the aspect of wisdom which comes from moral, ethic, and religion and spirituality, which comes from Guruji. So when you take this combination of both of these two types of wisdom, it can be very auspicious. Very auspicious. When Sun is in Sagittarius, these people are more inclined to the moral and ethical wisdom versus the spiritual or religious. They're more inclined to just being a good person. Like I always say, religion can help you become a good person, but you don't need a religion to be a good person. So basically what I'm saying here is that people with Sun in Sagittarius, they're usually very good people, very concerned with moral, ethic, doing the right thing, doing the fair thing, doing the honest thing, doing the true thing, helping the old lady across the street, giving money to the homeless person. They're just naturally inclined towards being the higher version of themselves, not necessarily spiritually, but just in terms of the moral and ethical barometer.
Yes.
They, because the sun's power in Sagittarius, these are the real leaders of justice and justice and righteousness and fairness. So these combination make for a good judge.
Yeah.
And they are also good educators, especially about right and wrong. And that makes them can be a good guru, not like Mahaguru, just like a very good teacher. And it also makes them really, really, really enthusiastic about freedom and justice, which is related to morals and ethics, which is related to what's right and what's wrong. And if this conjunction falls into your 10th house, this might be your career.
Yes.
Maybe you defend the innocent in some way. So when Sun is in Pisces, it's a much more spiritual vibration. This combination of Pisces represents our connection to the higher realm, to the celestial realm, to the heavenly realm, to the Devas, to Shiva, to Vishnu, to Brahma. So because of this connection, when the Sun and Jupiter, when Pisces and Surya conjunct, it is very powerful potential for spiritual growth, for spiritual or religious expansion, particularly in terms of this concept of faith. So basically, when the Sun enters Pisces, your life becomes strongly oriented to coming to find something to believe in. And then once you find something to believe in, you have to have faith in it. You have to surrender your doubt. This is a very strong karma of Sun in Pisces. And this makes them also very spiritually interested, and they could be interested in past lives and reincarnation, different types of mystical and occult art. Yes, so there's a religious interest, and they're very interested in, because of the philosophical combination here, this wisdom combination, they're very interested in the reason of things, not necessarily the intellectual reason, the spiritual reason of things. In other words, the karma. So for people who have Surya and Pisces, they are very concerned with figuring out the karma of why certain things are happening.
Yeah, wonderful point.
Okay, so Surya's relationship with Chandra, with the moon, they are considered friends, although that friendship can be worn out, in my opinion. But basically, the king and the queen, they both represent the throne of the hierarchy of the Navagraha. And but the king and queen don't spend every minute together, do they? And actually, they're best when they're each, for example, the moon is strongest when it's furthest away from the sun. That's when the moon is full. So this is to say that the moon and the sun are friends, but they get stronger as they get further apart from each other. So they also grow in their independence from each other. And it's kind of like how two people should be in a relationship. Yeah.
Correct.
But that's challenging. So so with the sun in Cancer, the sun, it's connected to the moon. It's connected to the emotion. So these people are very emotional, very instinctual. They have a great imagination. They have a great amount to reflect. They have a great amount to introspect. They are incredibly, because the sun is the soul's potential and the soul's direction, and Cancer is all about caring for other people. that pretty much that there's a strong energy or strong karma that they are there to help show support, care, and love to people in their life.
Yes. Perfect.
And it's really strong in the 4th house, this combination, if you're Aries Lagna. And on the challenging side, when the sun is in Cancer, because the sun and the moon, when they are too strong, like let's say eclipse or within 5 degrees of each other, this can cause some challenges. And because the emotional aspect of the individual becomes kind of burned. So what this become emotional scatter, emotional hypersensitivity, over emotion, over sentimentality. So when the sun and the moon are having a more challenging influence on each other, it's going to be very challenging to the emotional.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so that's just talking on some of the karma of the sun. I think we got into a lot of the deeper aspects, the more metaphysical, meaningful aspects, as well as some of the literal, material aspects and how they manifest in the different signs. And now I just want to discuss some remedy. We're going to go over 3 types of remedy. We're going to go over ancient remedy, we're going to go over lifestyle remedy, and we're going to go over Ayurvedic remedy. And when we're done discussing these remedies, then we will start to look at some questions together.
Yes. Brilliant.
Now, as far as the ancient remedy goes, the best day to honor the sun is on a Sunday, which is why I had to do this webinar on a Sunday.
Yes.
And I was like, I just have to, because I have to honor the sun.
Yes.
So that is important to know, that if you're in Sun Mahadasha, you can honor the sun every day. If you're in Sun Antardasha, you can honor the sun every day. But if you're not, the most favorable day will be the sun, and will be Sunday.
Yes.
In terms of ancient remediation, I would encourage the mantra that we did earlier on sunrise. If you are up in time for sunrise. If you're not up in time for sunrise, just wait till the sun is burning hot and strong, really, really hot, and go out and perform the sun mantra similarly to the way that we performed it earlier in the session. And if you go to my Facebook page or my website, Kṣaṇāti Jyotish, you can find videos of all of the mantras that can help with the pronunciations. If you're interested in incorporating the sun mantra into your life, it really is very powerful in helping promote your confidence, your courage, and helping you see how you can grow and succeed.
Yes.
Just in general.
Yeah.
And then also the sun yantra. It's earlier in this. You can find some beautiful ones on my website or online. It's a beautiful thing to have on your altar, especially when you're doing yagya or ritual or puja to the sun.
Yes.
The best gem for the sun is a ruby. I am a lover of gems. I have like 10 rubies over here that I just like holding in my hands when I want to connect to the sun. But basically, ruby is the best gem for the sun. And I do recommend ruby very often. And I find it particularly favorable for those who have debilitated sun.
Yeah.
I've seen someone who had debilitated sun, no success in their life, and I recommend that they get a ruby pendant, and they wear the ruby pendant, and all of a sudden their success explode.
Wow.
So if you have debilitated sun, that's my number one recommendation to empower the sun. Is the ruby is great. But if you're a Leo Lagna, If you have sun in your first house, if you're in Sun Mahadasha, these are all other reasons to consider a ruby as well. Now, many people think, oh, ruby, gold. No, ruby, not gold. It actually says in the ancient text that the metal for the sun is copper. The issue with copper is that it turns blue. Usually what I recommend for my clients is they do a mix of gold and copper for their ruby ring. It's very beautiful. Same with if they were to wear it as a pendant, I like to recommend a mix of gold and copper.
Yeah,
And
that's a beautiful combination.
yeah, and for some reason, because of the connection between the sun and the Manipura chakra, that I like the sun gem work to be worn as close to the chest as possible, or as close to the stomach as possible on a long chain, versus as a ring. But if you are to wear it as a ring, it should be on the ring finger of the for a woman, the left hand; for a man, the right hand. But if it's particularly malefic, you want it on the left hand anyway. And if it's particularly strong, you want it on the right hand. So there are rules and there are exceptions. As far as ancient remedies for the sun go, sun salutation. This is a form of a yoga practice to do the sun chant and then do a sun salutation. This is also considered a great ancient remedy for the sun. Yeah, those are the primary ancient methods that I think are going to be productive that are not that complicated, and that we can integrate those into our lives in a happy and healthy way.
Yeah.
Now, as far as lifestyle remedies, this is very important because with the sun, when we go back and looked at all the karmas that we discussed, the soul's direction, the Atma significator, the dispeller of ignorance, the embodiment of truth. So how do we, in our lifestyle, honor this force? Well, the first thing that we can do is we have to take every opportunity we have to shine. We have to take every opportunity we have to shine. So many times in our lifetime, we get offered opportunity, maybe public speaking, maybe to help facilitate webinar, maybe to write a paper or teach a class or whatever it is. And sometimes we are inclined to say no, that we do not want to take this opportunity. We do not want to be seen by 50 people and then later 1,000 people. And we do not want to be seen by on the stage as an actor or an actress or a singer. But one of the best ways that we can improve our karma with Surya is to embrace these opportunities, and every opportunity as it comes along. So if you have any opportunity to be the leader, to be the speaker, to be the teacher, to be in front of an audience, to take some position of responsibility, to take some position of control, to take some position of the leadership, this is all highly auspicious in terms of remedy for the sun.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Whoa. Oops. 1 second. I just noticed that. Okay, so there are more lifestyle practices that we can do for the sun because, as we mentioned, the sun is connected to the father.
Mm.
And some of us have better relationships with our fathers than others. But the sun represents in some way our karmic relationship with our father. So no matter how hard your relationship with your father is, if you can spend a little time either talking with or spending time with him on a Sunday, it is highly auspicious or remedial, highly favorable in honor of the sun to see or communicate with the father on the Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is the best remedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if your father has passed, it is important to leave a either a yellow or red flower at the tombstone on Sunday. But the basic energy as far as the lifestyle paradigm for the sun is that if there is a position that will promote you, your soul's power, your soul's direction, your courage, your confidence, your leadership, your position in this world, your position in life, your sense of empowerment, then you need to take that. You should take that. Do never shy away from those opportunities, as scary as those might be, because that's the sun coming saying, "Come, let me help you shine. Come, let me allow you to shine." And we have to follow that light. Now, as we get into Ayurvedic remedy for sun, we know that sun is primarily Pitta dosha, which is connected to the fire element. When we look in astrocartography, I always have to worry about people's sun lines, because if it's a hot place, they're going to have heavy exposure to things that might aggravate the Pitta dosha within the body. Basically, they're at risk of Pitta dosha related health difficulties. So with people with very strong sun, like Scorpio, like me, or exalted sun, or living in their sun line, it is important that they balance the Ayurvedic dosha Pitta. And I don't think we've discussed this in any of the prior webinars about really Pitta being a planet. That how do we balance that? So Pitta has a lot of qualities to it. It's rajasic in its nature, because fire is constantly moving. From a molecular structure, we know that by studying it. But from a guna perspective, Pitta has certain qualities. It is hot, which is Ushna. It is sharp, which is Tikshna.
Yeah.
It is light, which is Lagu. It is oily, which is Sneha. And all of these qualities of Pitta, when the sun karma is very strong, then you need to balance these qualities, which means all of those qualities that I mentioned cannot become excessive. And if the sun karma is strong, they are predisposed to become excessive. And if you have sun in 6th or 8th house, you have to worry about this 5 times more.
Yeah, right.
But basically, if the sun is too strong, you always have to balance Pitta. And so we balance these qualities of hot, sharp, and oily by dull, cool, and dry. So this is just an example. If you are a very hot person and you have a lot of Pitta in your chart, and the sun karma is very strong in your chart, then you want to live in an environment that is dry, cool, and dull or soft, which means to me there's not traffic everywhere.
Yeah.
But because traffic is the most Pitta aggravating thing there is. But anyway, yeah, so basically you balance those qualities, and you want to seek an environment that will not aggravate those qualities. So if your sun karma is strong, avoid hot, avoid sharp, avoid oily. This also goes into your diet. If you have heavy sun karma, you might be attracted to spicy foods, but they're not healthy for you. You want to avoid hot foods. You want to avoid spicy foods. You want to avoid oily food, so any kind of food that is deeply fried. These are all things that are going to complicate the pitta dosha for those that are heavily influenced in their health by the sun. First of all, the grain that is an improvement of this is wheat. So chapati. So chapati is always good for sun. So same with naan and puri, and but not garlic naan. Leave the garlic off the naan and put extra ghee. And as far as herbs that I like to recommend, shatavari is a fantastic herb for cooling down pitta. Another fantastic herb is rose. And another, I like rose. I like shatavari, and those are the two herbs that I recommend. And then I also like to recommend 2 pranayama exercises that are so helpful in improving our karma with the Ayurvedic. Like if I'm feeling pitta aggravated because of the sun and I do these pranayama, it's like I have instant relief. The 2 pranayamas that I'm talking about are Shitali and Shitkari, and they can be looked up online, but I'll just do that one of each so you guys got the basic idea of how they're done here.
Wonderful.
And these are very pacifying to sun karma and pitta dosha. So for the first one, you have to be able to roll your tongue like this, like a straw. You turn your tongue into a straw, and then you inhale through the straw. And then at the end of the inhale, you stick the tongue to the back of the roof of your mouth, and you exhale out the nose. So it'll look something like this. I already feel more relaxed.
Wonderful.
The second one that I recommend is shikari, which is you make an angry face like this, and then you put your tongue on the back of your 2 front teeth, and you inhale through the side of your mouth.
Okay.
It'll seem like you're angry. It looks like this. Similarly, you send the tongue to the back of the roof of your mouth after the inhale. So they're wonderful. Dr. La taught me those, and very helpful.
Yeah, thank you so much for showing it, Kṣaṇāti. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you would just do 2 sets of 10 of each.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Okay, so let's take a 2-second break. I'm going to use the restroom, and then we'll start looking at questions.
Yes, perfect. So we'll have a 2 to 5 minutes break. So we'll come back in 5 minutes.
Namaste, Madhurji. I can't hear you, dear. Oh, now I can.
Yeah. So welcome all, and should we start?
Yes, let me just pull up the screen.
Yeah.
So, first, can we check, is Abhijit Kumar here?
Yes.
I'm looking too.
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't see him. Do you? Okay, we'll skip
Me-
him. Let's skip him for now.
Yes.
Okay, how about Ren?
Yes.
No.
No.
See, it's because this is rescheduled, so we're going to do more live question, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, how about Dimple?
Yes,
Dimple, okay.
she's, yes.
Okay, come on, Dimple.
Yes.
Let's unmute. Okay. Hello, Dimple?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, namaste.
Namaste. I'm so glad you're doing this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you for choosing to join us today and to send in your query.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Where are you coming from?
Vancouver, Canada.
Wonderful. So just to take a look at your question here, you mentioned with, oops, sorry, 1 second. There was just a little glitch there. Okay. Okay, so you mentioned with your sun in the 8th house in Leo, and you mentioned it's at 29 degrees, so right near the cusp there. It's in Uttara Palguni Nakshatra. Uttara Palguni Nakshatra, you mentioned that, which is its own nakshatra. And you're asking what will be your health / longevity relative to this conjunction.
Yeah, it's actually my son's chart.
Oh, yes, I remember this. So,
Yeah.
you're wondering your son's longevity, yes?
Health, yes. Sun being in the 8th house, yeah, and at 29 degrees, both those things.
Yeah, in Leo in its own nakshatra.
Yes, yes.
So, question, has he had health difficulties in his life so far?
No, but he is prone to more pitta, I would say.
Exactly.
So he,
even
though it's like hot for everybody, but he's the one who'll have a nosebleed. Or for instance, he'll have a rash, like a hot rash, that kind of.
Yeah, my intuition is that because the sun is in Leo in its own nakshatra, that even though the 8th house is called the house of death, it is also called the house of life. And this is a triple sun, Leo sun, sun 29, sun nakshatra. So I will imagine him to live a long life.
Okay.
And actually a very strong, long, and powerful life. But as you mentioned, he will have to be very concerned with the pacification of his pitta dosha. Also, I notice he has Ketu Lagna, 16 degree.
Yes.
Ketu also aggravate pitta.
Okay, that's good to know.
So he has. So are you familiar with my astrocartography topic?
Yes, I've actually seen those videos.
Okay, so it would not be beneficial for him to be near his sun line. So maybe, I know he's almost time for college, right?
Yes, that's right.
So he should not go to college near sun line. No. But this, I think, proves well for his longevity, and the conjunction of the triple sun there is he will be very successful in something very unusual or non-traditional. It could be he could be mystically inclined during sun periods as well, or he might be inclined into the fields of health and medicine. But as far as the longevity of your son, I'm not worried. But he will, all of those pitta pacifying things that we discussed should be a part of his dinacharya.
Okay. Great.
So even though he's young, he should start with his pitta pacification as an everyday process now.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Is that good? Does that answer your question?
Yes, it answers the health and longevity question. And the other question is about, one moment, let me pull up the question. Sun, with the 29 degrees, Sun is also the Atma Karka then for his chart.
Yes.
So what would be the life purpose in that sense? Because it's not in the 8th house in his Navamsha. It is in the 9th house with Rahu
Okay.
in Sag.
Okay. But what's the question exactly?
The life purpose, because it's the Atma Karka as well.
Yeah, because the 8th house is an unknown house. The 8th house is a house of something that falls outside of our societal box, outside of our societal tradition. So I could give you a long list of possibilities which he would be successful at in terms of his life purpose. But the primary thing you should know is that it is not traditional. It will not be common within society. It will be, you could call it unusual. And things that fall under this energy include alternative medicine, the mystical arts like astrology, Ayurveda, yoga. It also shows interested in gemstone. There's possibilities working with gem. Also shows possibilities in working with a spiritual foundation or a non-profit organization.
I see.
So all of these are potentials for Vivek.
So these are all potentials for the 8th house.
Yes, but because it's Atma Karka, this is also part of his life purpose.
And then does it help for you to know how it stands in D9 in the Navamsha?
I mean, if I was doing a reading for him, yes. But in this brief analysis, it's not necessary.
Okay.
Yes, because we're talking about someone who is young anyway.
Yeah.
Who's not falling into the energy of their Navamsha yet.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Great.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Nice to meet you, Dimple.
Nice to meet you.
Madhura ji, come back.
Yes. Okay, so we have next Pratik.
Pratik.
I don't think he's there.
No. Oh gosh. Okay, so we don't have Pratik, Ren, or Abhijit. If you do, please announce yourself in the chat.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I'm going to do 2 or 3 live questions. How long is the total recording so far? Do we know?
Yes, it is almost 2 hours.
So I think with editing, we can fit into 1 part.
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
good. Yeah. Okay. So live question. Let's bring someone on who has live question.
Yes. They can put their question maybe in chat, or then they can come online to ask it.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, you can put your questions in chat box.
Questions, welcome. Okay, here they are. I'm seeing some questions, but let's start with new questions.
Yes.
Okay. Please present new questions. Thank you. Okay. Here's the first question from Amit. Hi, Kṣaṇāti. I also have Sun in Ascendant on Scorpio. Right on, brother. Sign in Jyotish Nakshatra. Okay. Sun, oh, that's very strong. Mercury. With Jupiter and Ketu also in Jyotish. That's not a question, my brother.
Hello. Yeah, Amit here. Hi, Kṣaṇāti.
Hi, brother.
Hi.
Namaste.
So, my question is, Namaste. Yeah. First of all, thank you for this wonderful session. Okay.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time to honor this work.
So, okay. My question is, that my sun is my Amartya Karika. Okay.
Yes.
And for this combination, my profession should be like occultic and like mysticism, like okay. But I'm in a telecommunication and technology field. Okay,
Mhm.
and I am interested in occult also.
You're,
So
you're interested in what also?
occult and astrology.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is that should I change my career path, or shall I continue this my existing profession? So what will be the good for the
Yeah.
profession
My
and for career?
my intuition is that I would not necessarily abandon one for the other based on what you've told me about your chart. One of the things that I do think is interesting is that Jyotish just connected to Mercury, and this could show working in the field of communication, telecommunication, internet technology, etc. Also
Yes.
associated with the Jyotish nakshatra, my brother, is the need for independence, is the need to work for yourself, is the need to be with your own boss. And there's all these other sun significations too. So it's not that I would say that you need to change your field, although Jyotish nakshatra would suggest you would be good in astrology. I have Sun and Mercury in Jyotish. But that basically it's more along the lines of that in the long run it will be beneficial for you to be working for yourself.
Okay. And I have one more question.
Okay.
Because sun is the karaka of first house, and sun is
Karaka of
when sun
what?
karaka of first house.
Of I didn't hear that properly.
Karka means
Yeah, no, I know Karaka of what though?
yes, karka of first house, and sun when sun is in
Festivals.
first house.
Uh-huh.
When sun is in first house, then sun destroys the significance of first house. So, what is the impact of sun in the first house?
Oh, you know how I talked earlier in webinar about how sun is always on your back? You know how I talked about how when you feel the sun is always on your back, you feel sunburn, like you feel the hot sun on your back? Well, this is kind of like energy of having sun in first house. It is that constantly sun is burning you, helping promote you, help push you further, and you do not get break. You do not get escape. So I would say I wouldn't emphasize the removal of the signification, but more the karma that the sun is fixed on your lagna, on your first house. And so you have the sun constantly pushing you and burning you on a daily basis for both the positive and negative side of this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, G. Om Namah Shivaya.
Okay.
Okay, let's take two more questions. Let me take a
Yes.
look. I'm going to take two more questions because is Saturn aspect Sun karma related to father? Yes, that's a great question. Usually when there is a connection between Saturn and the Sun, it shows a karma between you and one's father, especially when that Sun-Saturn aspect is heavy in the transit or heavy in the chart. It could either show a very auspicious and positive karmic relationship with the father or very challenging aspect of relationship with the father. The issue is that the Sun and the Saturn are naturally enemy. So when you're dealing with karma that relates to the father with the Sun and the Saturn, you're going to be dealing with the positive aspect or the more light aspect, which has to do with the Sun, and all of the aspects of your father which challenges you, which shall come from Saturn.
Yes. Brilliant.
Okay, with exalted Sun, give positive result. With exalted Sun in 12th along with Rahu. Okay, so Rahu Sun conjunction is always challenging. it is said that Rahu eats the sun. So that Rahu takes away half the power of the sun. So just to know that the exalted sun is afflicted by Rahu. And it looks like you said they're 5 degrees apart. So there is some type of Surya Chandal Yoga. So basically, this will give positive results. This conjunction that you're explaining is highly indicated for your path towards moksha. With the soul seeking moksha, with on a path to moksha, and is very beneficial for you spiritually. Yes, this conjunction gives you positive results spiritually. Now, whenever the 12th house is activated, particularly with troubling conjunctions like Sun and Rahu, it can have challenging effects on the material realm. Because if your Sun is in the 12th house, which shows that your soul is seeking moksha, then there are going to be some things on this material realm, on this physical realm, that you are forced to let go of that help you get there, which is the challenge of it.
Yeah.
Okay, scrolling down. Okay, let me see. Take 1 or 2 more questions. Okay. I'm just gonna pick one more question. That's my favorite. Career field would be the best for me. Okay, yes, I like this question. So Fani Yanaswamy asked, Saturn is the enemy of the sun. So if Saturn ascendant, Aquarius, Sagittarius, if Saturn ascendant, Aquarius, I think she meant / Capricorn. So if the sun is debilitated in these lagnas, okay, not debilitated, challenged, but yes, can a person wear the rings that you have suggested? Oh yes. So for Aquarius, for Aquarius Lagna, or Capricorn Lagna, if the sun is there, then I highly recommend the ruby. You said since the energy is totally opposite to the main force. Yes, that is true, but there's a reason that the sun is conjunct in the Saturn sign, and it is challenged by that sign. So you have to empower it. You have to empower it. If you don't empower the sun in the Saturn sign, the person will have very low self-confidence throughout their entire life. So I do think even if they are Saturn Lagna, the ruby, if sun is there, the ruby will be very beneficial for helping them believe in themselves. Yes. Okay, let me see if I'm going to do one more.
Last one.
Okay. Be my gain. Okay, so I have 2 questions here, and they're kind of like a combined question, so I'm just going to kind of answer it. One Ashton person asks, Sun in K2, what karma? And then another person asks, a lot of people have Sun with K2 or Rahu, don't know why, which is basically asking what that karma is. So what is karma of Sun with Rahu? What is karma of Sun with K2? Now, it's very important to know that depending on the position, okay, so the sun and K2 and Rahu are both enemy with the sun. But the sun can represent a lot of success in our life and the prosperity that we're seeking. And Rahu can also represent our desire for power. So I believe that the sun and Rahu work better together on the material realm when they are conjunct, and that the sun and K2 work to get together better on the spiritual realm when they are conjunct. For example, our current president, Donald Trump, he has Sun Rahu in 10th house. It helped him become president. Also, the old emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, had Sun and Rahu in 10th house. So basically, this combination of Sun and Rahu, it shows that you're on a path towards power. You still have more life experiences that your soul is seeking that have to do with that power. And your life's journey will be about aligning to that. And it usually shows that this is not the last lifetime. That there is still a lot of individual experience that needs to happen before moksha is ready.
Yeah.
Now, when Sun is with Ketu, it is more promotional to moksha, as Ketu is the moksha karaka. So now, if Ketu and Sun are in the 10th house, it means that there will be constant challenges in your career until you finally align to the career that is your higher calling. But just in general, when the Sun is in Ketu, it shows that your soul is very devoted to the process of moksha. And because your soul is very devoted to the process of moksha, it can have challenges in, like we talked about, in losing things on the material realm that you're attached to benefit you on the spiritual realm.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Brilliant.
Great. So, Madhura,
Yes.
can you come back to the screen?
Yes. Yes, I'm on screen. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, can you see me?
No, it says dimple still.
Okay, now?
No.
Now, can you see me?
Yes, I can see you now. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
So, do you think now, since we are trying to process all into one part, do you think now would be a good time to conclude our webinar?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. May I do a closing mantra?
Yes, definitely.
I'll do 2 closing mantra.
Yes.
I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today. And again, my name is Kṣaṇāti. You can find me on jyotishastrology.org or email me at kṣaṇātijyotish@gmail.com. I'm always available for questioning. Sahanau bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, saha viryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu, ma vivashavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange Tribhuvana Tarini Tararastarange Shankara Morini Harini Vimale Mama Matirastam Tavabada Kamale Bhagirati Sukhi Daini Matas Tala Jala Mahima Nikame Kyatas Nam Jane Tava Bahimanam Trarikripa Mahiman Madhyanam. Hare Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste. Thank you all who enjoyed this webinar. Thank you, Madhuraji. Thank you, Saptarishis Astrology. Thank you, Sunil Janji. Thank you, all of the beautiful, lovely members of this community. It's such an honor for me to share this time and space with you. All of my love to you from my heart.
Thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti. We are very grateful that you're coming and teaching us so profound knowledge that really, we are really grateful. And thank you so much all for joining Saptarishis Astrology webinar. And I hope to see you all in our next webinar.
Yes,
thank you
me
so
as well.
much. Yeah, thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti, once again, and pranam to all. Wherever you are, have a good night, and those who are in the Western zone, have a nice day ahead. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, Madhuraji. Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you.